If somebody called you up in the next 20 minutes and said, you know that thing you've been wishing for, be it a lottery, a dream home, a dream job, a perfect future, an ideal business, they called you up and said, hey, this thing, it's ready for you now. Just come on down to the shop and we're going to hand you your keys, or we're going to hand you the business that you've been asking for, or a suitcase full of money. How would you respond if you got everything you wanted all in the next 20 minutes and you knew it was coming in? How does that make your body feel when I asked you that? Did you tense up? Did you curl in? Did your stomach go into knots or some other bodily sensation? Did that feel safe in your body when I said, hey, here you go, here's that thing you want? The really, really big thing, too. Not just like a small, like extra $5. I mean, like lottery winnings amount of money. How does that sit? Because if it sits well, if it sits easy and all you feel is excitement, way to go. You probably don't actually need to watch this video. But if when I asked you that, instead what you felt was nervous or anxious, or you felt yourself curling in, your stomach tensing up, or any other sort of sensation, then there's some work that needs to be done before that future actually has the space to come in for you. Now, these days, a lot of people use a lot of different terms. You hear things like regulate your nervous system, feeling safety in the body, doing shadow work. They all, at the end of the day, in this particular circumstance, kind of mean the same thing. And it comes down to, do you feel safe to receive? Do you feel safe to accept? Now, there are people who all they do all day is talk about this. Jamie C is amazing for nervous system safety, but it really just, you have to provide that safety for yourself. A lot of people, especially in my experience, a lot of neurodivergent people, a lot of people who are chronically ill and witchy, who do have a background of trauma in their childhood. When we think of things that, some people might think of when they think of safety and security, a stable home, a stable relationship, enough money in the bank that you don't actually have to worry about if you can pay for your groceries, let alone your rent. A lot of people who were raised in this turbulent environment, whether because of their own needs not being met or circumstances outside of themselves, and I definitely do count myself into this category, we don't feel safe with things that are new, because new is different. New is scary. When new feels scary, when your body doesn't feel comfortable with things that are different, we tend to fall back into patterns of self-sabotage, be it intentional or not. I know for me, sometimes this looks like not checking my bank account or answering an email that really is simple, but I know subconsciously moves me a little closer to my goal. And that's intimidating. It can be anxiety inducing, because different things that are unfamiliar by default feel unsafe in our body. And so we have to regulate that. We have to get comfortable with that. And the easiest way to do that is through gentleness. That is how I got as far as I came. I've come so far. And it's what I recommend to my loved ones as well. When you have those old thought patterns that are popping up, the thoughts that say, you're not good enough, you don't deserve this, if you get the money, that's going to make you a bad person because money makes people evil. Whatever narrative or story or thought you have showing up that, in the front of your brain, you feel like it isn't true, but deep down, physically, your body, it does still feel true. It does feel unsafe. You need to work through that and let your body feel safe. Now, I will put a caveat here and say I am not a therapist. And if your trauma is really, really bad and you need that support while you do this, if you can afford it, if you can find a therapist, absolutely go work with one. I've worked with one on and off for the last few years, and it definitely has helped. But unfortunately, I know that option is not available for everyone. And for myself included, a large part of my life, a therapist wasn't something that was available to me. And I've had to learn to work through these things on my own. So, how do we deal with these old fears, these old narratives that we want to let go of, that we know are keeping us tethered to where we are and keeping us that little bit further from where we want to be? Well, we accept them. Literally, what I do is I think it, because at the end of the day, that thought, that fear, that worry, that anxiety, chances are it played a role. Chances are at some point in your life, it was needed, it was important, it kept you safe, be it physically or emotionally, and it served a purpose. But at some point, it stopped serving a purpose and instead started becoming more of a hindrance, started keeping you tethered to where you were. So for me, I thank it. I say thank you for keeping me safe. I appreciate you. I know I used to need you, but now I don't need you anymore. Now I am safe. Thank you. You can go now. I do not need you anymore. And something I have been adding in recently is I call my energy back. I call my energy back from this thought. I call my energy back from this narrative. I call my energy back from this story, from this memory that left me in this place where I couldn't feel safe anymore. I visualize and let myself feel that energy coming back in. And a lot of times I will also ground down, because the earth is very, very good at alchemizing. And I will ask her to help me alchemize this energy that is coming in. So when it comes in, when I am calling my energy back from this circumstance that left me feeling unsafe, not only do I A, have that energy back, B, the narrative shrinks a little, but C, that energy isn't back and anxious. It's back and feeling regulated. It's back and feeling grounded. Now, this takes practice. I've been doing this, letting go and thanking the anxieties, the stresses, the fears for a couple of years now. So that is second nature. The grounding it down and alchemizing it, calling back my energy with that is a new addition, but it's a really good one. Now, if you don't want to necessarily call your energy back every time, though making a regular practice is a really, really good idea of that. Something else you can do is you can snap. I've been seeing a lot of people using this more and more. I've been trying it out a little bit more too, but snapping it is like an energetic cord cutting, right? So you see that energy, that narrative, you say it like, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I don't need you anymore. Goodbye. You are not welcome here anymore. You can also clap your hands to remove it. Something else you can do is just kind of like pulling it. Literally imagine pulling it off of you, out of you. If there's a specific place you're feeling it, like in your heart, your stomach, in your head, the thoughts, just get rid of it. It's gone. Whatever, and use your intuition here. Whatever visualization feels natural to you, feels easy, feels like it's working, because the more you pay attention, the more you're going to notice that shift too. Use that, because it's going to work. You, at the end of the day, are which, and your intuition is the most important thing here. But making a regular practice of this is really, really going to help. Approaching these fears and anxieties and these worries with gentleness, with kindness, with love is what is going to help you work through them. Because we're not falling back on those old patterns anymore. Those old patterns and those habits, they don't serve us. They used to. But in this new place we're going, for me, for I think a lot of people, the things we're striving for, whether consciously or unconsciously, is feeling peace, feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling abundant, feeling love, feeling like there's place for hope. And if you approach your, let's say, delays in not getting there, the things that prevent you, your roadblocks that you've put in there for your own safety. If you approach those with an energy of annoyance or anger or frustration, that's going to keep you in that energy, because that's what you've already been feeling, right? You've already been feeling those emotions. But if you want to feel the other emotions, the peace, the joy, the love, the kindness for yourself, all of it, you have to start incorporating that more into your day, right? The more you are around a certain energy, the more that energy is around you. So much of this work often feels subconscious. It's the things going on below the surface that you don't really notice. And when you're not paying attention, when you're not aware, it's like you're working through all of this on autopilot. But when you can bring your awareness to the front, when you can recognize and notice, it makes it easier. Now, it's not going to solve everything in a day, but it's the first step. The more you show yourself love and kindness, the more you show up for yourself, the more you replace those scarcity mindsets, the I'm not good enough, this is bad, I can't have this because, I need all these things first, or whatever mindset or fear is blocking you. The more you replace those with I can do this, I am allowed to have this, I am excited for this, I already am abundant, the more you will create safety around these feelings, the more you will create safety in your body, and the easier it will be for those things to slide in. Now, when you're doing this, the thing that I notice for myself is a lot of times when I'm doing one of these energetic actions, there is an impulse that follows it. And sometimes I don't, honestly, a lot of times I don't fully understand the impulse in that moment. Now, the impulse could be go wash your hands, which could mean you need a little bit of water cleansing. The impulse could be go make a painting, because that's a way your body really wants to regulate your nervous system. The impulse could be, okay, go clean this area now that you called this energy back. And maybe there's a stagnant energy there or something you really need to throw out that is going to help you let go of these things that you're holding tethered to. The options are endless. And when that impulse comes up, you might not understand it. But in my experience, the more I work with this energetic practice and follow that next level of following that intuitive impulse nudge that I get afterwards, the more pieces fall into place, the better I am feeling. Now let's dive in this with some real life examples from me personally. My childhood, unfortunately, growing up, the household was often a mess. It was a disaster. It was not quarter level, thankfully, but it wasn't that far below it. There was always so much stuff. Things didn't get cleaned that well. Um, I grew up in households that were unhealed. Both my parents had a lot of healing that they hadn't actually had the chance to work through. And it was hard. Childhood wasn't easy, especially being neurospicy, neurodivergent, being different. And my parents as well, but undiagnosed for them. So for me, for my body, for the way I lived most of my teen years and adult life up to date, that has led me and my body and my nervous system feeling safe in chaos, safe in a house that looked like a disaster. But the difficult thing with that is that also dysregulates me. It frustrates me. It makes it hard for me to focus and to do things and to have the motivation to create or make videos. But because that chaos and that disaster is where my body and my nervous system felt safe, it's where my house often returned to. So, in the last, let's say 3 months in particular, the thing I've been doing is working on feeling safe in calm. It's been working on getting rid of a lot of things that I really, really do not need without the guilt. I've created stability for myself. I don't need to worry about keeping 27 plates in case some of mine break and because I need to have fancy dishes. I can just get rid of them. I really don't need them. And yes, that's a thing because we cleaned my partner's grandma's storage unit out almost a full year ago, and I brought home so many dishes I did not need, so many things I did not need. And then I spent the next 8 months slowly parting with them and getting rid of them one by one. I still have more to get rid of. But the dishes didn't represent just dishes, it represented safety because I grew up in a cluttered house, and a cluttered house is what felt safe to my nervous system, my brain, because it was familiar. And yet, even with all of that, even how safe and familiar chaos and a disaster felt in my brain and my body, it is not what I wanted. It has never been what I wanted. I've always wanted to be able to manage and keep a clean house. And I would get frustrated and angry at myself for not being able to. I work on being in alignment with the energy of getting my dream home. That is something I want. I don't know how it's going to work out yet, but I love the idea of being able to buy a piece of land and either having a nice house there already or building my dream house. I've thought a lot about that. I can go in a whole other video about that if you'd like to know. Honestly, I could ramble about that for quite a while. Let me know and I can do that 100%. But when I think of actually finally getting my dream home, I don't see it as the disorganized, chaotic mess that most of my homes have been to date. I see it as clean and organized and well put together and a place for everything. But here's the kicker, the catch, whatever word you like to use. I don't think kicker was the right one. Anyways, if I am constantly existing in a place of chaos and disarray and disorganization, if things are constantly messy, how can I expect to go from just constantly not keeping up with anything to suddenly a house that's perfectly clean, perfectly organized, not a mess, like everything's totally fine? I can't. It doesn't work like that. And if a messy house is something you've struggled with, you probably understand that too, right? You've had those moments where everything's a disaster. You burn yourself out almost spending a weekend cleaning it, doing way more than you can actually handle at once. Everything is clean for exactly 3 hours before it slowly starts to crumble apart. And that's because clean didn't feel safe. Messy felt safe. And you had to push and force yourself to get to clean and push yourself through that safety in a very, very uncomfortable, abrupt way. And it led you exactly back to where you were. So instead, for me, what I've been doing is slowly chipping away at things, letting myself clean as I want, slowly working on building in those habits and those routines, like keeping up with the dishes every day. We do that almost every day now. It's a whole ADHD household here. um, I sweep every day now, which is a recent adjustment this past week, which is really nice. Like I would sweep, yes, obviously, I still sweat, but not every day. But the sweeping every day makes it easier to keep things off the floor, which makes it easier to have, you guessed it, an organized house. And the more my house is an organization, the safer I am feeling in my body with it. It's slowly chipping away at these things week after week, month after month. That is allowing me to feel safe. I'm working up to it. So now I'm getting to the point where I feel like, hey, if I were to get that offer to move, get that offer to have my dream house, everything works out perfectly next month, I feel like I'd be safe enough to hold it. I'd be safe enough to accept it. A month gives me the rest of the time I need to just kind of feel settled. But as I chipped away at these things, as I chipped away at cleaning, it wasn't just the physical task. It was the emotional and the regulation behind it. It was the shadow work behind it. It was often sitting with myself and accepting it. It was rewiring my brain to not see cleaning as a punishment, because that was one of the things that was in my brain. Growing up, cleaning was sometimes a punishment, so I hated it. And now I don't see it as that. I have slowly worked on shifting my mindset to having an organized home is having a safe home. Having an organized home is a home that's easy for me to be creative. It's easy for me to be in without feeling as overwhelmed and stressed. It's safe for me to have that because I love myself. I love my home. I want to take care of myself and take care of my home and take care of my future self. And taking care of my future self means doing things that help her and make her feel comfortable, including having a safe and clean home. I get to enjoy cleaning, and I've tried to figure out different ways to enjoy it too, with the energy I have, and it's made a really big difference. Now, the clean home is literally just one of so many examples because it's everything, right? I've had to get comfortable receiving, accepting help, being myself, showing up, talking to camera, letting my art be seen. But it's working. Things are shifting. One of the big things for me last month was actually selling, like making money from my art for the first time. Like, I've sold some of my notebooks with paintings, which is always super exciting, but I sold like actual original paintings. And it took months. I mean, months and months, about a full year of me wanting to work on my art, going forward, pulling back, going forward, pulling back, going forward, pulling back. It took a month of that before I really felt safe. Or not a month, a year of that before I actually felt safe to sell a painting. And that honestly is kind of wild, but it's exciting. It was the first piece, and more will come. At the end of the day, what I want is to create balance and safety and help for other people, but also create that for myself. I want people to feel inspired and not alone and have the tools and resources to do that, while I also work on building a business that supports me doing the things I love, like painting and selling my art. Now, if you are interested in my original paintings or some of my notebooks, planner, things like that, I do have them in the links in the description below. All the notebooks and planners are on my link tree, and the art is on my website, chloemorgan.ca. So thank you for that. I'm just gonna put that in here because we're working on showing up a bit better like that. Now, before I do let you go, I just want to take a moment and say I'm proud of you, and I appreciate you for being here. I may not know who you are on the other side of the screen, but if you're here, if you made it this far, you are working on yourself. You are showing up for yourself. And it might be in small ways, it might be in big ways, it might be growing, but you are doing the work. And you are here and you are learning, and you're going to get there. It might feel impossible sometimes. It might feel like things are out of reach and so far away. But one day, you will open your eyes and you will look around and you will see just how far you came. Find the proof now. Find the proof of everything you've already achieved, all the successes you've already had, because that proof is there. That proof is already there and waiting. You just have to see it. You just have to open your eyes for it. And if you're connected with your spirit guides or your intuition at all, you can ask that. You can say, show me the proof that I'm already doing this. And you might get answers, because I did that yesterday and it was wild. So much proof that I didn't really realize, but it's always exciting. Anyways, if there is something that you're working through, if there is a limiting belief that you feel like you are running into over and over again, be it you aren't deserving of love or abundance or nice things or a clean home, like, let me know either what it is that you're working through and struggling with, or even just what it is that you're working through, the proof that you can already see in your life, because I do want to cheer you on in the comments. I want this comment section below to be full of all kinds of support, because sometimes it's hard when it feels like this journey, this trip, this growth is a solo adventure, because a lot of times it is. It's inner work, it's shadow work, it's working on yourself, and that can feel lonely. But when we give each other the space to congratulate each other, to feel proud of ourselves and proud of other people, it helps. It makes the journey feel less alone. And sometimes that little nudge, that little thank you and I'm proud of you, is the only thing standing between you and that next step. Say hi to Lucy. He's actually been out this whole time on his little Lucian harness. But anyways, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And I hope you have an amazing day. Go drink some water. That was a really bad wink, but we're fun. And if you're still here, this isn't really the video anymore. This is just my brain being weird and noticing things. I've said it on a few of my videos. I don't actually edit these. Sometimes it looks like things get cut. They're not. Really what it is I'm pausing the filming. But I film everything on my phone. And I was noticing this really weird thing as I'm filming. I have it in my portrait mode with like a color focus. So everything's black and white. It makes me pop, which I like. But I was noticing. Do you see that? Do you see that? When I move over here, the trees turn green because it's in my headphones. Sorry, I was going back and forth and noticing that, and I really got distracted while I was talking, and I just needed a moment to let my ADHD brain truly notice that. Anyways, Lucy and I say thank you, and have a great day. See you in the next one.